Intensity is the name of your game, so how come it became so difficult in extra time?
A bit of a dumb question, I have to say, because when you see us that often, if you never saw us, then you can ask how can they have more resources. We played, I don't know how many games recently. I don't know how many games United exactly played. That's sport.
It's not a dumb question. Let's go back and listen to what the journalist. By the way, hit the like button, subscribe to the Football Terrace. Get that done right now. Turn on the bell notification button. Let's go back to the beginning and listen to the question the journalist and Liverpool fans. I know a lot of you are going to be angry about this. I know a lot of you won't want this highlighted, but I think it's a key component of football. Let's take a little listen.
Normally, intensity is the name of your game, so how come it
Let's finish the question. Sorry.
became so difficult in extra time?
When Liverpool had to take off some of their first team players and bring on kids against Chelsea, what they were praised for is maintaining that intensity. What they were praised for was how that they looked absolutely no different. And they've been praised for the past 4 to 5 weeks through this injury crisis they've had, through maintaining a position in and around the top of the league, winning a trophy, staying in Europe. The intensity dropped off definitely at the back end of the second half and throughout in extra time. It is a fair question for a journalist to ask the manager his opinion on why he thinks that happened. The right answer probably should have been, Jurgen, Man United were just better than us today. But instead, he proceeds to do this.
A bit of a dumb question, I have to say, because when you see us that often, if you never saw us, then you can ask how can they have more resources. We played, I don't know how many games recently. I don't know how many games United exactly played. That's sport. Yeah, I'm really disappointed about that question, but you thought obviously it's good.
So too many games, so...
I don't think that.
And then he says, oh, so you think you've got too many games? And then he gets even more annoyed. He only asks you a question based on what it is you said.
Oh, come on. You are obviously not in a great shape, and I have no nerves for it.
A lot of people are saying he's saying you're not in a great shape because he was fat. And not. I don't know if that's true. Listening to that, I'm not interpreting it that way, but he's now walking off. Ray's quitting the interview.
You are. I have a question talking about, are you really, what's wrong with you? What do you...
Well, we said, what's wrong with you? They are completely fair and normal questions for a journalist to ask.
What did you want now?
How come you're so provocative?
Wow.
And listen to what the journalist says here.
What's wrong with you? What did you want now?
How come you're so provocative?
How come you're so prerogative? Not prerogative. What's the word he said? I forgot.
How come you're so provocative?
Provocative, sorry. And then Jurgen Klopp steals the microphone. Steals his microphone and walks away. Now, I know he doesn't like losing. I understand that in every single way, shape, and form. But this behavior is completely unacceptable on every level. But it's funny, it's the second time I've seen this in the space of a month or so from him. Man United broke him today. And prior to that, it was Arsenal that broke him. Take a little look.
A lot of things were against us today. Come on. It was again the situation. This referee gave me a red card against Man City. Maybe it was that game, I don't know when that was. A red card for a wrestling situation, Bernardo Silva and Mo Salah. Today, same situation with Diogo Jota. That I didn't get a red card shows just I'm matured. It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. Then holding Havertz on Konate
First yellow, yeah.
No, yeah. And then Ibo is there with the arm as well. Havertz goes down, yellow card. Then he has to give him a second yellow. Gabriel is doing the same with Nunes. No yellow card. So it's not about, we should have played better, but everything went in these moments against us.
This is the thing with Jurgen Klopp. He's a great manager, and there's no denying it. After this Arsenal interview, he was also rude in the press conference to a number of journalists, dismissed them, played them down. And look, Arsenal were just better than you on the day. Yeah, we can argue a few decisions in that game didn't go your way, but there was nothing that was standout in the recent defeat to Arsenal. The same as there was nothing that happened yesterday that really went against you. But what Jurgen Klopp does when he loses, he deflects. But he doesn't deflect by talking about a particular scenario per se. He gets rude and nasty to journalists. He gets rude and nasty to referees. He gets rude and nasty sometimes to his own fans. Just go back to April of 2023 and see what he said there. And this is the side of Jurgen Klopp that's wrong. And obviously he's won a trophy this year. It's his final season at Liverpool. He wants to go out with a bang. Arsenal have recently gone top of the league. United have just knocked him out of the FA Cup, stopping the famous Jurgen quad from being achieved. And instead of taking it on the chin, both clubs have broken him, and he's acting like a goddamn baby.
You're a proud patriot. So what did you make of the decision from Ben White to turn his back on England? Harry Redknapp was pretty forthright about it on The Breakfast Show. Were you forthright?
We can all have forthright opinions if we're not abreast of the facts, but prima facie, looking from the outside in, I'm very much in the territory of Harry Redknapp. I don't really understand why Gareth Southgate can't. I don't know why the player needs to be protected. He's a big boy. Maybe he needs to spend more time on a sunbed. That's why he can't make himself available for England. But I look at it and go, why are we wasting our time? Doesn't play for England? Move on. If he doesn't want to play for it, why pick him? Why call him up? Why make him a subject of a press conference?
Why insult him then? You've already said you don't know the facts. You actually go out and do a bit of research. There's a really in-depth article that came out in March 2024 where Southgate is quoted and spoken about, and they go into detail about there is a problem within the dressing room that Ben White has with Holland and some other figures, and Ben White doesn't feel comfortable being part of that group. This isn't a man turning his back on his country because he doesn't want to play for England. It's because of the dynamic, the relationship, and him being part of the England setup. He feels he's going to be detrimental to England as a whole. So he's taking the decision to step away. But you're saying you don't know the facts. You're saying you're not bothered about it, but yet you're still giving an opinion and you're still insulting him. And people hate me saying this, but I'm going to do it. The hate for Arsenal and their players is absolutely ridiculous. How can you say, I don't know the facts, I don't care about it, but yet I'm going to give you an opinion and slag the man off? Crazy.
Why feel the necessity, and also why feel the need to insulate him? If people are suggesting, because I mean Gareth was very quick to want to suggest that there was nothing to do with Steve Holland, because that's been doing the rounds for a long time, hasn't it? And there has been no explanation. And if we're entitled to an explanation, which I don't frankly think we are, but if there is this belief that people are entitled to an explanation as to why the player doesn't want to be called up for England, I think it's poor. I think he'll go back and look on his career in the years to come and regret the fact that he didn't play for his country, because it's one of the greatest honours that you can have in any walk of life, is to be representing your country.
I did his game in June 2021 where he...
The thing is, I understand where Simon's coming from, but I don't think Ben White is going to regret it. There's nothing we know there's an issue that he has internally. We know that he wants to play for England, but not under this current setup. And at the end of the day, he probably will have an element of regret, if you like. But I don't think it's regret that he's turned his back. It's regret that the situation has been so poor. And sometimes, I got this example many years ago. You might like a ham sandwich. You might like a jam sandwich. Sorry, a cheese sandwich. You might like a jam sandwich. But a cheese and jam sandwich together tastes disgusting. Just because you like both separately doesn't mean they work together. And I think this has been handled awfully. I think it's been handled awfully by England. I don't think, I saw this tweet that came out the other, this article, the Athletic have confirmed that Southgate lied today and that there was big issues with Steve Holland. This was written about months ago. Now the FA are playing this down. It isn't fair on the player. It's horrendous, actually.
Called up. And I mean, I don't know what the scenario is, and you can tell us probably in more detail, but the fact that it's not him that rings Gareth Southgate and says, don't pick me, it's Edu who rings John McDermott and says he doesn't want to be considered.
That's really poor, I must admit. Again,
why is it poor? So the problem with these types of interviews in the mainstream media, first thing I'd be doing if I was the host is saying, okay, let me stop you there, Martin. Why is it poor? What is poor about it? He has no relationship with England because he's pulled away because he's problems with the coaching staff and the management. Therefore, he's had someone send in the message saying, look, let's not get into a situation where I have to say no. Just please don't consider me ahead of time. This information shouldn't even be coming out. Why is it poor?
And again, back to Simon's point, if you don't know the particular facts and we're dealing from a situation at a distance, but I agree.
And why are any of you talking about it? I'm sorry, Martin O'Neill, again, he's a manager that I enjoyed listening to. He's a pundit who I think speaks with great integrity. But on this particular occasion, both him and Simon Jordan said, we don't know anything. but I'm still going to give you an opinion anyway. For me, it's a bit of a nothing burger. It's been made a story by the way people are talking. Ben White's going to regret this. He's turning his back on his country. It's a disgrace. Why are you trying to? And you've got to ask yourself this question: why are they trying to set the public against him? This, for me, is one thing and one thing only. And if you've got to 10 minutes and 15 seconds in, you'll understand it. This is an attempt to destabilize Arsenal. This is an attempt to damage their psyche, to create hostility towards Ben White during games, especially away from home for the rest of the season. That is all this is. The media's seen an opportunity here and they've gone, right, we can try and cause a rift and a problem and an issue at Arsenal. There isn't one. Steve Holland and maybe other members of the coaching staff and Ben White, it's like oil and water. It does not get on. So therefore, Ben White has said, don't put me in the squad. It's going to damage England. That is the right thing to do. That is the right behavior to have. Removing yourself from a potentially toxic situation that could hurt you, could hurt the coaching staff, and more importantly, could hurt the nation's team. But now it's being turned into he's a scumbag for it. And again, I say it and I say it with chest. This isn't to benefit England. This is to damage Arsenal. 110% facts. But as ever, look, I want to get your views. I want to get your opinions on this in the comments section below. Make sure you are subscribing. Follow our new channel, The Squad. Scan that QR code on the screen now. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all soon. Peace.